Hi guys, it's Christine DLT. We're about to get started in just a moment. All right, so I guess my orientation is locked. Cool. Well, apparently I can't rotate this thing. Fun. I'm glad I set up my stand to be horizontal, and now I need to do this vertically. Portrait versus landscape. Hang tight, guys. I'm gonna figure this thing out. In case you wanted to find a yoga playlist, I have my music all on Apple Music, and I'm under my same handle as my Insta, which is Yogi DLT. And our playlist for today is my Yoga BSY22. Hang on, it's gonna be a little bit wild for a minute because I gotta reorientate this entire stand, and I've been kind of using this old stand that doesn't work for phones with one that does work for phones that lifts it a little bit higher. So this is gonna be a little funky. We gotta try our best today, guys. I've never done a YouTube class portrait. I've always done it landscape, but I guess my phone confused it today. So let's try our best. Man, we are really gonna have to be on an angle. Cool, cool. So you can see me all the way through class. All right, my friends, we are going to work a lot on strength today. We're going to work on some crow pose and some other arm balance variations, as well as some strengthening of our quads, and just really work on making sure that we have a lot of strength in our body. And that might not necessarily just be physical, it might also be more mental for us. I know for me, a lot of times my strength comes more from my mental state than from my physical state. I might not be in the best shape of my life, but I might feel very strong, and you might be feeling the same way. All right, yogi friends, if you want to find our playlist, it's Yoga BSY22 under on my Apple Music account under Yogi DLT. I'll also post a screenshot to my Insta story so you can um, make your own Spotify playlist. And our flow is called Stand in Your Strength Flow. We're going to feel very strong today, very powerful. So feel free to get set up with whatever props you want. Today, I'm recommending maybe a block because we are working on crow. So if you have a block at home and you want to play around with that, if you are either a pro at crow, that rhymes, or you are just getting started, a block is really nice. I'm gonna have a few options for you to use your block to either up your game of crow or just begin to start your crow pose if you've not really built up a strong one. So a block is optional, but if you got one, I say grab it. I also have a sweater over here because we're gonna be doing some shoulder stretches. And if you have tight shoulders, if touching your fingers behind your back seems like a very long ways to go, grab a shirt or something, a towel, whatever it might be, just to make that connection a little bit easier to get to. So I know it sounds random, but a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, a towel, anything that you can help kind of connect and bridge the gap for will be helpful. And then I have some water. I highly recommend some water because this is a strength flow. So strength flows mean that we are going to build up some heat today. So water is highly recommended. All right, my friends, getting started here in just a little bit. All right, so there's your playlist for today, Yoga BSY22. It's a very fun, energetic playlist. So if you are going to flow along to your own playlist, maybe find something a little bit more energetic. a little bit more fiery for you. I want something that is going to make you feel like you are strong and powerful. Whatever jam helps you feel really good about yourself. So, like, maybe it's a Lizzo song. That's one of my favorites. That always gets me a little bit hyped um, because she's just so empowering and makes everybody feel amazing and should love themselves. So maybe it's something like that or a different song, whatever helps get you going. We're gonna start off a little bit slow though, so maybe don't start off with those jams yet. Let's start off with something a little bit slower. As we really bring ourselves to ground first, we have to really root down to our inner dialogue. We really have to root down to what's really going on for ourselves first and acknowledge that before we can really fire it up to stand in our strength. We'll get there. It takes some time. Yoga is a process. And you might notice today it's a shift, and it might be a very small shift, but over time, those small shifts lead to a bigger change overall in our lives. So go easy on yourself. It might not be today that you get that crow pose or whatever it might be that we take on as an arm bounce. I have a lot of different variations for you. That you decide to take. And, that's okay. Whatever pose it is, you're working towards it. Yoga is not like an instantaneous, I got it the first time practice, because otherwise we wouldn't be practicing. It'd be way too easy for us. It wouldn't be a challenge. So it definitely is a challenge. All right. That being said, I'm going to say this at the beginning and at the end. Black Swan Yoga has teacher donations. The Black Swan Yoga Teacher Relief Fund is on blackswanyoga.com. It's also on our Instagram if you go to the link in our bio. And um, okay, Zoe, what do you want to tell them about it? She's doing yoga for you guys. This is my dog Zozo, Miss Zoe. Um, any donation that you make on there goes directly to the Black Swan yoga teachers. And seeing that we can't be in the studio right now teaching, this is how a lot of us are making ends meet, how we're paying our bills, things like that. So any and all donations are lovely. But if you're in a tight spot where you can't make a donation, we also totally get it. So thanks for tuning in. And I got to figure out how to get my dog off my mat so I can get started. Maybe you have the same problem. Let's get started today in a child's pose. Come on, Zozo. Love you, girl, but you got to move. Teaching. All right, so child's pose. I'm going to start with my toes together, knees apart, because I really want to get into the hips today. But if your low back feels like it needs a little bit of love, bring your knees and thighs side by side and then fold into your child's. So again, if your knees and thighs are together, that's going to give your low back a little bit of stretch and love. And then if your knees are out towards the edges of the mat, that's going to be more for the hips. So sinking your forehead down to the earth is more important than having your hips come anywhere near your heels. So if your booty's pretty high up, but your forehead's down, that's all that matters. Don't stress. Just settle in. Try to find some comfort here in this posture. Try to close your eyes. And tune in and notice what's going on with you today. Start to listen to the inner dialogue in your body, your thoughts, your breath, areas of tension, whatever it might be. Notice what's going on without judgment, without labels, suspending all judgment today on the mat. That is the beauty of our practice, is learning to suspend judgment. And as we learn to suspend judgment on our mat, I can tell you from my own personal practice that it gets easier to also work on suspending judgment in your day-to-day life. This is our time to practice on the mat. That's why we call it practice. The real test of it is how we take it out into our daily lives, how this practice trickles out into our day-to-day life off the mat. So start to notice what's bubbling up in your mind of thoughts, of emotions, of feelings. All of your feelings are valid. All of your thoughts are valid. Let them just be what they are as you observe and notice. If something, though, is very distracting, maybe you can do this little visualization exercise with me. Imagine taking those distracting thoughts, put them in a box, like a shoe box. Put the lid on that shoe box. And then can you mentally lift that shoebox out of your mind and place it off to the side of your mat? You can pick that shoebox up later, those thoughts later, and they'll be waiting for you. at the end. But for right now, let's remember to place our thoughts in that box off the edge of our mat. You might notice that they start to drift back into your mind, and then maybe you go back through that exercise again. Imagine picking it up, literally lifting it and putting it into a box, and then putting that box off to the edge of your mat. It helps me work on that. Maybe it'll help you. Taking a full round of breath in and a full round of breath out. One more full round of breath in, yogi, staying in that child's pose. And a deep breath out. From your child's pose, let's take the fullest breath in. Add an extra sip of air in. Maybe one more little sip. Open up your mouth, huge sigh. Let everything sink heavy. Let go of whatever's no longer serving that you are still hanging on to. Take a full breath in, fill up with something positive, even if it's just fresh oxygen. Extra sip of air in, extra sip. Open up your mouth, big audible sigh. Letting go of anything you no longer need to carry. All right, starting to take your time to tent up onto those fingertips. Let's warm up into the shoulders. Keep your forehead rooted down to the mat. Just work on dropping one shoulder down and then the other. So just work on tick-tocking your right ribs down, right shoulder down, right tricep, and then switch it out. Nice, really active into the shoulders. Keep drawing those shoulder blades down the back towards the hips. Take two more rounds of breath in here. One more set to each side, right? Exhale into the left. Nice. Start to walk yourself back to center, and then the hands come in towards the knees as we slowly rise up. Hello. We're awakened. Hopefully, we feel a little bit reset. We feel a little bit more connected to what's going on within our hearts and our minds today. And we're going to set an intention right here. So you can sit on your heels if that feels okay for rock pose, or you can sit crisscross applesauce, your choice. I'm just going to simply bring my hands in my heart center. You can take any mudra you want. If you want more of a lotus pose, this is a nice one for gratitude, to remember all the things that fill us up. Or you can just simply take palms touching, really connecting to the heart with your thumbs to sternum, and just closing the eyes, sitting up nice and tall. This Anjali Mudra, this hands to heart center here, thinking about what you would like to set as your intention for your practice. Now, you can choose your own personal intention. That is really nice and lovely. But if you'd like to go along with the class intention today, it's all about standing in our strength. So there's a mantra that is our intention for our class. And our mantra is, I stand in my strength. I stand in my strength. I stand in my strength. And I like to think of this as so many different layers. There's the physical aspect. I stand in my own body. That's my physical strength. But then I also stand in my mental strength. All those things that we have to overcome in our thoughts. Then I also stand in my emotional strength, my spiritual strength, whatever it might be for you. There are many levels to this, and you can take this as deep as you want, this mantra. It's up to you. Today, it just might be in that physical strength, and that's okay. Might be a little bit deeper than that. It might even be a little bit emotional. But on our inhale, I want you to think of our mantra, I stand in my strength. On the exhale, I want you to open up your mouth and let go of any doubts that you might have about that. So on the inhale, I stand in my strength. On the exhale, let go of doubt. One more inhale. I stand in my strength. Fill up. Open up your mouth. Fear, insecurities, let it all go. Nice, yogis. Flutter open your eyes. Sweep your arms up high towards the sky. Exhale, cactus your heart open, a little back bend. Look up. Lovely. Inhale, sweeping your arms up. Exhale, lower your hands down. We're going to work on some strengthening here. So we're gonna start. Your heels, your feet might be going a little bit numb from sitting on them in rock pose, like mine are. That happens. We're gonna work on tucking our toes for yogi toe stretch first. So we're gonna sit back towards our heels as we tuck the toe under, and the toes tucking under on both sides are gonna make a huge stretch in our fascia. That's the tissue in our foot. Fascia is so important in our body. It's what literally holds the shape of our muscles together and holds our muscles to our skeleton. Without fascia, our muscles would just be like floating around inside of our body, like not even connected to our skeleton. And fascia is really important to also stretch, though. It gives us a lot more flexibility. Sometimes that's what limits a lot of mobility within our body. So here we are working on that in our feet. Um, and you're going to see why your feet are so important for arm balances in a little bit, especially with crow pose. So you're actually going to take on a yogi toe stretch later on. I'll kind of let you know about it as we move into our arm balances. So as we're here, let's warm up our shoulders. So we're gonna reach our shoulders up and overhead. Exhale, cactus. Good. Inhale, reach your arms up, look up. Exhale, cactus. One more of those. Inhale, reach your arms up. Bring your gaze forward this time. Exhale, cactus. Nice. Can we work on a little pinch of our shoulder blades back behind us? And then a little roll of our elbows towards the back of the room. Like as if I was taking my elbows to scrape the back wall and then back through to the front wall. So bringing some rotation into our shoulders while we pinch those shoulder blades together, roll them down the back. Let's switch it out other way. Shoulders and elbows roll forwards like we're trying to scrape those elbows towards the front wall and then to the back wall, keeping the shoulders down, just adding some mobility, some fluid strength here. Now let's just work on a little bit of up and down movement into our shoulders here. Good. Keep pinching those shoulder blades together. Exhale, lower your hands back down to the earth. Tap the tops of your feet down. Let it go. Woo! Those yogi toe stretches get me every time, no matter how many times. It gets easier with time, but it doesn't ever get like completely just like you could sit there for forever, at least in my experience. Maybe I got some really tight fascia in my feet, not sure. All right, let's sit to the tops of our heels back to our rock pose. We're going to work on some ankle stretching here because, again, our feet and our legs are so important to warm up. All this mobility leads to longevity in our practice. So, we're going to simply lower our palms down. You might frame both knees, you might frame one more than the other. It's up to you. Feel which one feels best for you. I like to stay tented up onto my fingertips, though. And we're going to slowly work on just lifting our left knee up, stretching into this left ankle. You might feel that along the shin as well. Lower it back down. Let's work on the right side. Lift that right knee up and then lower it down. Take it one more time on each side. Left knee, right knee. Good. Now let's work on both knees. So lifting up. Maybe even you can do this. If you feel like you have a lot of mobility, you can even start to lift your hands behind you to prop you up and lift your knees really up high to stretch into those ankles, just depending on what's going on for you today. Take one more full inhale. Exhale, lower those knees back down. Ooh, getting really uh, strong stretches into the ankles, the feet right off the bat. A little bit of warming up into the shoulders. We're going to keep going with these shoulders, but we're going to transition into a tabletop and take some cat cows for our spine first. So take a deep breath in, lift tailbone and gaze up. Exhale, round and hollow out, gaze in towards your navel. Inhale, take a full breath in, pinch those shoulder blades together, lengthen the collarbone. Exhale, press the earth away as you round and hollow. One more round of breath in. Just warming up our spine here. One more round of breath out, but hold this cat pose. Hold this rounded spine. Press your ribs over to the right. Oh, feel that in your low back. Press your ribs over to the left. I feel this here. Hopefully you feel it too. Press your ribs one more time over to the right. And then one more time over to the left. Oh my goodness, come back through center. Let's sit back, crisscross applesauce. You might kick your feet out in front of you to get there. And here we are. So we're going to work on some forwards and backwards motion into our spine. And we're also going to work into some mobility in our shoulders. One of my first things that I like to do before I even begin to really work on my shoulders is I like to find some organic movements here. So I'm going to press my hands down into my knees, just kind of propping them up. I'm going to pull my heart through like a cat cow and exhale around. See how this is similar to your cat cow you just did? Inhale, pull your heart through, find length along the collarbone, maybe length along the front of your throat, opening up channels of communication. Vishuddha is your throat chakra here. Exhale, round and hollow out, really engaging the solar plexus by pulling your navel into your spine. That's your strength right there. Inhale, pull your heart through. Exhale, round, hold it. Nice, come back through, nice tall seat. Let's drop our left shoulder down, gaze over to the right. Good, come back through center. Let's drop our right shoulder, gaze over to the left, strengthening along the front of our shoulders. We're gonna really get into our shoulders today because arm balances will indeed use our arms. And a lot of the strength for our arms is not really so much what's in our arms, it's more what's in our shoulder and our core. So we're gonna really focus on those two. All right, coming back here, we're gonna inhale, sweeping our arms up high. Exhale, cactus your heart open, but keep your gaze forward. Keep your neck neutral. We're going to slide our right arm underneath our left for an eagle wrap of our arms. Now, for the eagle wrap, you might notice that you can't quite touch palm to palm. Don't stress. No one stresses about, well, no one should ever stress about this. This doesn't mean that you're a good or bad yogi or anything along those lines or good or bad person. Some people grab for their thumb. Some people take the backs of their hands together. Some people even just grab for their back shoulders here if that's more accessible for your mobility today. But it's right arm underneath our left to begin with. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Unwind the arms back to that cactus. Really proud heart. Pinch the shoulder blades together. Almost try to pull those elbows behind your shoulders. Nice. Left arm underneath your right. Find the eagle wrap of your arms once again. Lift those elbows up to shoulder height, roughly. Elbows should be pulling away from you, nice and active here. Take a deep breath in and a big breath out. One more full inhale. Exhale, stay. When you're ready, unwind, cactus those arms open, stay nice and proud, pulling those elbows back, really activating those shoulders. We're going to find some more movement here. Right arm underneath left. Inhale, lift your elbows up towards the sky. Lengthen your heart. Exhale, round and hollow out. Nice. One more time. Inhale, elbows lift up. Exhale, round and hollow. We're going to combine this with some core work in just a moment. Come back through center. Open up your arms, cactus. Pull those shoulder blades back behind you. And then left arm underneath right. Inhale, elbows lift up. Exhale, round and hollow with this eagle wrap of the arms. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, round and hollow. Come back. Unwind the arms. Lower your hands down. Roll those shoulders out. So on the inhale, I like to roll my shoulders up. On the exhale, I roll them down. If you want to slow it down, or if you just want to move through some movement, let it go. That was a lot for the shoulders. We're just warming them and waking them up and stretching them and getting them prepared and ready. Now let's go for some wrist stretches. Let's take our right hand facing forward, like you're telling somebody to talk to the hand. Take your left thumb or your left pointer finger, grab for that right thumb, pull it back, switch it out for the pointer finger. We're going to stretch into the fingers first, and then we're going to really get into the wrists. Middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger. Now let's take all of 5 fingers and grab it with our left hand and start to pull back. You'll see this flexion of my fingers back towards my face. Now let's flip it out the opposite direction. Now we're going to take that left hand and pull that whole top of the right hand back towards us. Great. Come back to neutral, make a fist, and just draw some circles. For some reason, I always roll my thumb out like that and my elbow in. I don't know why. But you know what? It also warms up a little bit into the elbow. So, hey, it's a win win. Up and down a little bit, maybe circles the opposite direction. All right, good. We're done with the right hand. Let's work on the left hand. Palm faces forward, like you're telling somebody to talk to hand. Take that right pointer finger and grab for the thumb first. I know rights and lefts are really hard for me today. They're hard for me every day I teach. Pointer finger. You might go for a little neck stretch while you're here. Middle finger. Ring finger. And last but not least, our little pinky finger. And then let's face all 5 fingers facing up. Take our right hand and flex your fingers back towards your face. Good. Get that wrist stretch. Exhale, face your fingers down. Taking that right hand, support the top of your hand as you pull everything back in. But also work on pulling the shoulder back into its socket too. Instead of extending out, pull it back in. Nice. Let's let go of that. Let's make a fist and let's just draw those little circles. I always seem to move my elbow in on these ones. I don't know why. It just feels good for me. But keeping that fist, let's draw circles the other way. Both ways, maybe a little bit faster. And then up and down, up and down. Right. So now our wrists are prepared for whatever lies ahead. I highly recommend doing wrist stretches every single time before you practice, whether a teacher uh, adds it to a class or not. You should do it before you even start practicing, just in case the teacher doesn't offer it during class. If they do, then you get extra wrist stretches. All right, yogis, let's take a moment to shift back onto our sit bones. We're going to combine that eagle wrap of our arms with some core work. So we're going to lay onto our backs because our core is where we get our strength for our arm balances from. Let's be honest. Most of our arm balance strength does come from our core. That's why we always cue pull your navel up and in, because when you do that, you create so much strength in your core, and then you're pretty much able to hold your whole body in on maybe just your arms, like in a crow pose. But we'll get to that in a little bit. You're going to find that this eagle is actually kind of similar in terms of the elbow or the knees to the backs of your arms, just like in your crow pose. All right, so let's take our right arm underneath our left first. So right arm under left. And then we're going to take our right leg over our left. So an opposite wrap of our arms and legs. Now we're going to inhale. We're going to crunch our knees and elbows in together. And then we're going to find some length. Try to lower those shoulders down, lower the neck down as you let the legs just hover. Exhale, crunch it up and in. Inhale, find length. Lower your shoulders and neck down. Let them rest as the legs lengthen. Crunch it up and in. Find length. Nice. Another crunch and a little bit more length. 5 more of those. Exhale, crunch for 4, 3, 2. Last one. And then crunch it up and release. Nice. Walk your feet out mat width distance. Let your knees knock together. You might just stay right here, or you can windshield wiper your knees left and right, left and right. All right, let's come back. Left arm underneath our right. There we go. And then left leg on top of our right. Here we go. Inhale, crunch it all up and in. Inhale, find length. Lower the shoulders and neck down. Let the legs just hover. Exhale, crunch it up and in. Find length on the inhale. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, length. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, length. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, length. Exhale, crunch. 5 more of those. Here we go, yogis, for 4, 3, 2. Last one. Nice. Unwrap it all. Let it go. Hug those knees in towards your chest. Grab the backs of your thighs and start to rock up and down a few times. Let that spine warm up, yogis. When you're ready, though, we're going to meet in a down dog. You might hop your feet back from those crossed ankles. You might roll over your knees and step it back. It does not matter. We're simply warming up and moving into our bodies. Start to find movement, though. As soon as you arrive in that down dog, bend into one knee, bend into the other. Get a really good stretch in those calves. Keep breathing. Move into one leg, move into the other. And then when you're ready, lift high into both tiptoes. We're going to drop the heels over to the right. So you're on the inside arch and the razor edge of your left and right foot, respectively. Press your heart back towards your thighs. You might bend into the knees, or you might keep the legs straight, your choice. Inhale, come back through center. Exhale, roll to the other side, to the left. Press your heart back towards your thighs. You might bend the knees, you might not. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, roll back through center. Lower your heels down. Pedal it out. Awesome. Let's lift onto our tippy toes, gazing forward on our next exhale. Hop, step, float, travel to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift, anchor fingers to shins. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root and rise, reach high. Cactus your heart open. Oh, we've done this before. Inhale, sweep our arms up high. Grab onto your left wrist, stretch up and over to the right. A little different here though. As soon as you release the bind, come back through center, open, twist, right arm back, left arm forward. Inhale, come back up. Grab onto that right wrist, stretch up and over to the left. Engage your core here. Don't dump into that left side of your body completely without any strength. Inhale, come back through center, open, twist, left arm back, right arm forward. Nice. Inhale, sweeping your arms up high. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Take any vinyasa you want back to your down dog. I'm going to step it back, high plank pose. If you're just beginning with me and you want to follow along, go for it. Exhale, we're going to lower halfway, chaturanga, elbows in towards the ribs. Hold here. Flip the tops of your feet, up dog. Find length along the collarbone. Exhale, roll over the toes, down dog. Nice. Maybe pedal it out again. Find some movement into your down dog. March it out. Whatever feels good. We're just going to go through one more of those just to really warm up our body. So inhale, looking forward. Exhale, hop, step, float, travel to the top of our mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root and rise, reach high. Exhale, cactus your heart open. Inhale, sweeping your arms up. Grab onto your left wrist, stretch up and over to the right. Come back through center, open the bind for an open twist. Keep your hips squared towards the front of the mat. Inhale, arms sweep high, grab onto that right wrist, stretch up and over to the left. Come back through center, open the bind, open twist. Keep this left hip point pulling towards the front of the room. Inhale, come back through center. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold and flow. We'll meet back in down dog. Any vinyasa you want to take. Take your time to make that journey. We'll meet back in down dog. Nice. Once you arrive back in your down dog, 2 rounds of breath. A deep breath in and a deep breath out. One more full inhale. Exhale, hop, step, float, travel to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root and rise, reach high. Palms reach up and overhead, make contact. Exhale, draw them in through heart center. Close the eyes. Arrive here. Take a moment to feel your heart pounding. Feel the beat of the heart. Feel your breath moving through your body, bringing oxygen from head to toe. Stand here in your strength. Stand here in your power. Remember our mantra, I stand in my power. You are indeed physically doing it right now, but also emotionally and mentally. Take a deep breath in. Say, I stand in my power as you breathe in. Big audible sigh. Share it out into the universe. All that strength. Take a deep breath in. Say, I stand in my strength to yourself as you breathe in. On the exhale, share it out to the universe. All that strength, all that power. Lovely yogis, flutter open your eyes, sweep your arms up towards the sky. We're going to stretch those hamstrings a little bit more. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Stepping your left foot to the back of the mat. Keep the right foot forward. Easy twist. Reach that right arm high towards the sky. Exhale, lower your right hand down. Lower the left knee down. Anjaneyasana. Sweep your arms up high. Stretching into this front hip flexor a little bit too here. Trying to get a twofer. Exhale, cactus your heart open. Inhale, arms reach back up. Now you can stay right here. You can just stay in your low crescent lunge right now. Or if it's in your practice to start to reach for this back left foot, you can go for a little quad stretch here too. Leaning a little bit further forward if you want a little bit more stretch into the front of that left side of your leg. Another full inhale. Exhale, whatever you got. If you have your foot lifted, just lower it down. Let's all find half splits. Flex our right toes up towards the sky. You might have to wiggle your foot a little bit further forward so you don't shift your weight back towards that heel, that left heel. Fold and bow down over that right leg. Find length. Nice. Take an inhale, gaze towards your toes, halfway lift. Exhale, fold a little bit deeper. Beautiful, yogis. One more full inhale. Exhale, re-bend into your knee, tuck your back left toes, lift that left leg up. Straighten out your right leg, extended pyramid pose. That means that your left heel's lifted off the earth. The right leg is lengthened, but it's not locked out. You're tented up onto your fingertips. If you want, hands to a block if you want, or two, or books, or whatever you got in your house to help prop you up. Bring the earth a little bit closer if the hamstrings are really tight. But can you actively work on pulling that right hip point back? Left hip point forward to keep the hips square here. Beautiful yogis, bow a little bit further forward. I get it's pretty early in the morning to get into those hamstrings really deep, but we're gonna work on it here and just breathe through it. One more full inhale. Exhale, walk your hands over towards that left long edge of your mat. Wide-legged fold to unwind. The toes are slightly in, heels slightly out. Give that head a little shake, yes and no. If you'd like to lift your feet off the earth here for a headstand, you're more than welcome to. We're going to be here for like about 3 more rounds of breath. But you can always stay as long as you need to, right? You can meet up with us later. I like to give my head a little shake, yes and no. Sometimes I like to walk my hands back behind me, get a little bit deeper into those hamstrings. Lovely. Take the last round of breath in. If you're flying and you want to rejoin us, you can lower your feet down to the earth, or you can meet up with us in a little bit. Hands underneath our shoulders. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, walk your hands around to frame that back left foot at the back of the mat. Oh yeah, we're in extended pyramid pose, but now on the left leg. So folding down over that left leg. Right heel is lifted really high, or it's just at least hovering over the mat. It's not touching. This is a very long pyramid pose. Left hip back, right hip forward. Bow it on down. You can stay tented up on the fingertips, hands to blocks, or palms flat down. 2 more rounds of breath. Last breath in. On the exhale, again, unwind, wide-legged fold for just a moment, and then walk it back around. Rebend into your knee. Take a vinyasa. We meet back in down dog. If you want to take a one-legged, make sure that you drop both tops of your feet back down for up dog, and then roll over your toes for down dog. Beautiful work, yogis. Fill up for a full inhale. Stay for that exhale. Last breath in. Looking forward on the exhale, hop, step, float, travel to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root and rise, reach high. Exhale, swan dive right away, forward fold. Halfway lift on the inhale. Exhale, fold, step the right foot back, left foot stays forward. Inhale, easy twist, that left arm reaches high to the sky, but you're strong in your right quad. You're still firing it up. Exhale, lower this left hand down, lower your right knee down, Anjaneyasana. Sweep your arms up high, stretch into this front right hip flexor now. You might also feel a nice stretch into this inner left thigh and hip flexor. I usually do here, especially as I lean further forward. Maybe find that spot where you can really start to unwind any tension there. Cactus your heart open, big back bend, look up, challenge the balance. Inhale, come back up using that core strength. Maybe you start to bring that right foot in. If you got the mobility, maybe, speaking of fascia, the fascia in your quad is not letting that happen today. Don't stress, don't force it. Please never force a yoga pose. It'll take some time to just work on maybe the quad flexibility rather than just trying to get a pose just because it's cute in a class. Just optional. Let it gently go back down to the earth if you still have it. Exhale, slowly lower your hands back down. Nice, yogis. Tuck your, oh no, sorry. Flex your left toes up towards the sky. I was about to skip our half splits for the left side. Folding forward over this left leg. Again, gently pulling the left hip point slightly back to keep the hips square. Now, you might need to wiggle the left heel a bit further forward. Know what you need here. Blocks, books, all of those are really handy and nice to help bring the earth a little bit closer. Or you just start to bow and fold forward depending on your flexibility, depending on what's happening for you today. Nice, yogis. On the next inhale, halfway lift. Look towards the toes. Exhale, bow and fold it on down. When you're ready, come back, rebend into this left knee, tuck your right toes, lift the leg up, straighten out the left leg, extended pyramid pose. We're gonna add on to this though. This time we're gonna flex our left toes up towards the sky, get a little bit more activation in the hamstrings in a different location. You might even wiggle your toes a little bit left and right here on the front left toes just to feel the different hamstrings. Lower your left foot down, walk your hands around, wide-legged fold. Just a couple rounds of breath here. Now, if you want, you could take an eagle wrap of your arms or something and just kind of hang out. I personally like to interlace my hands to my low back, find a little bind, and then just lower my arms away, squeezing the heel of my palms together like I've trapped something between my palms. Maybe it's a little bug and you don't want to squish it. All right, let's come back, halfway lift. Exhale, walk your hands around, frame that front right foot. And again, remember, in this extended pyramid pose, we're flexing our right toes up towards the sky, bowing over that right leg, feeling the different stretch. You might welcome in the little wiggle into the toes, left and right. You might not. Up to you. One more full breath in. Exhale, lower that right foot down. Walk your hands back around to the front of the mat. Reframe, bend again into that knee, and maybe a one-legged vinyasa or not, your choice. We'll meet back in down dog. Once back in your down dog, inhale, look forward. Exhale, hop, step, float, travel to the top of your mat. Halfway lift on the inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root and rise, reach high. Exhale, hands come into heart center. Close those eyes. Come back to that strength. Stand in your strength. You are strong. You are powerful. You have the ability to achieve anything you want. Believe it in your heart, and you can do it. All the strength you need is already right there behind your thumbs in your heart. Know that if you dig deep enough, you can always find the strength you need to tackle or conquer whatever challenge has been presented to you. Beautiful yogis, flutter, open your eyes, swim your arms up high. Exhale, wiggle your toes slightly apart. Actually, let's go hip width distance with our feet. I lied. Feet are hip width distance, so all 10 toes facing forward. They're like a number 11. They're parallel. Feet are hip width distance right underneath their hips. Exhale, sit low, chair pose. So I don't normally go for a feet hip width distance chair pose very often. Personally, this one's not my favorite. I prefer my toes together. It keeps me from kind of knocking my knees in. In this one, I have to actually actively think about pulling my knees more out towards the pinky toe and away from rolling in towards each other. So maybe you need to mentally tell yourself that, hey, am I pulling my knees out rather than letting them roll in and knock together? It's a little bit lower. Reach your hands out in front of you. It's a little bit lower. Feel that strength. It's a little bit lower. Feel that strength. It's a little bit lower. Now lift onto your tippy toes here. Hold this very low chair pose with heels lifted. It's a little bit lower until your booty literally rests to your heels. Oh yeah, we're here. So I'm gonna scoot back a little bit so you can see me on a little bit easier. Now you can grab your block here if you want. I personally am gonna go for a ball pose and grab around my knees for just a moment. Really good for digestion, really nice for the spine. Maybe if you feel a little bit brave, you tuck the chin towards your chest. Working on that balance. You might fall out of it though. Back up and around. And if you want to grab for that block, grab for it. We're going to work on our crow pose. So talking about that yogi toe stretch, here we are literally in a yogi toe stretch, just hovering. It's even harder this way, right? We're stretching the fascia in our feet, but then we're also using the strength of our feet, our ankle, even our core here a little bit to keep our balance and keep us upright. So you can use the block if you're newer to the practice. If you're pretty experienced with the practice, I'll show you what to do with the block to make it an extra challenge in a little bit. We're going to work through some straightforward crow pose. We're also going to work on some side crow. And I'll give you a fun variation of an eagle side crow. That can be kind of fun too. All right. That being said, let's just play around for a little bit. So you're going to pick which one you want to work on. If crow's already in your practice, maybe you just jump into it. If you're learning, get a block. And let's place our block down. Now, I like to have the block the flat way because this gives me a lot more support because I'm about to put my feet on it. So if my feet are on it and it's here and I wiggle too far, it'll roll on me, right? And especially if it's way too high. And I don't want this to fall on us. So I want this to be in the spot where it's not going to fall or move anywhere. So I'm going to step up on here with my tippy toes. And I'm going to sit my booty back towards my heels. All right, now your hands are going to be shoulder width distance apart. So that's about the distance of where your shoulders, when they shift over, are going to be aligned, right? Fingers are spread really wide here, like you're in down dog, because this is what's going to be distributing your weight, because all you are is balancing on two hands here. So if your hands are like this, you have a lot less area to distribute your weight across versus spreading your fingers really wide. Now, here's one of the most important things to do. Your gaze is not down. It's not towards like the mat straight in front of you because that's where you're going to fall, right? You don't want to fall to the earth. You want to soar out in front of you. So I want you to look long out in front of you, maybe to the top of your mat or even off your mat a little bit, because I want you to think about where you're soaring to, where you're flying to as a crow, rather than just being like, I'm looking down, I'm going to fall there. It's not what we want. So we're gazing out long in front of us. We have our knees tucked up towards our armpits. Our knees kind of rest on the back of those triceps, and we lean forward on the tippy toes. Now you're going to feel it here. You got to really start to engage the core. Your lower pelvic floor has to lift up and in. Now you might lift one toe, you might switch it out with the other, or eventually lift both. That's your crow pose. Now, if you have the crow pose already in your practice and you want to work on upping your strength, this is one tool, a strengthening I give out. I don't always do it myself because it's really flipping hard, but we can do it together. So we're gazing out in front of us, right? We're balancing here. And if you have crow pose already, take your feet to grab the block, get a good grip on it, and then start to lift the block up. Yeah, now you're adding extra weight to your crow. You can work on that. That's a great strengthener. All right, now that I'm out of breath, I'm gonna try to keep going. So you can play around with that crow pose as much as you want here. You might have to give your wrists a little stretch. I like to face them the opposite direction and face up on the mat just to give them a little moment. I like to give my feet sometimes a little break too because they get tired. If you want to take a side crow, I'm also going to go through that right now. So it's kind of like play with whatever pose you want right now. All right, if you want a side crow, it's a little bit easier from a chair pose to get into side crow. So let's stand up and let's sit into our chair. Now, it doesn't matter if your feet are hip width distance apart or not. Now, let's invite in a prayer, thumbs to heart, and a prayer twist. So we're going to bend our left elbow to the outside of our right knee. Now, from here, placing your palms down to the earth. Now, notice I have connection of my knees to my left tricep. My right arm is totally free. Nothing is resting on it. That's a true side crow. So if nothing's resting on the right arm, but your left for your left knee, right knee to your left tricep, that's a true side crow. You start to lean out. You're looking out, but you start to lean into it and then stack your legs on top of your arm, right? That left arm. But if you're newer to a side crow, this is how I started. I started with both arms helping me support me. I rested my right cheek and thigh to the outside of that right arm as well, like a little stand or like a little shelf. And I just lifted off that way because that's what I needed at the time. I have the full strength just to be able to lift for my core and balance on that left arm. All right, we can do that for the other side. But before I do that, I'm going to also show you an eagle wrap variation you can take for side crow. So if you have side crow in your practice, something fun you could do is take your right leg over your left, sit into your eagle. Bring your hands down over to the outside of the right side of your mat. And again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to start to balance on this left arm. And then we have the eagle wrap of our legs. Now you can switch it out. It doesn't really matter which way you wrap your legs. It's whichever way it feels best to you. I personally just don't like pressing into this calf. So that's why I prefer the right leg over so it can rest to the back of the thigh, the outside of the thigh. All right, let's do everything on the left now, and then we'll be hopefully feeling pretty strong and powerful in ourselves, whatever we've done right now. It doesn't matter if you took on something in any shape or if you kind of fell over out of it. I've fallen out of so many crow poses. I can't even joke around about it. All right, let's sit back into our chair, palms in the heart center. Prayer twist, right elbow to the outside of left thigh. All right, yogis, I'm going to twist a little bit so you can see me. All right, so here we go. We're going to lower our hands down. And again, right tricep, left leg. Left arm is completely free back here if you want to go into that true crow pose. I'm looking out in front of me where I want to soar to, not straight down. But again, if you need that stability to work on that little shelf, maybe you do start to work on a side curl like that. That's how I started too. It's okay. It's like a level 1, and then you might get to level 2. And then again, if you want that fun eagle wrap variation, wrap that left leg over your right. Gently bring your hands down to the side. I try not to double bind here because you notice your foot needs to be free. Start to lean over, and then maybe work on this fun one. Hey. So yeah, those are some arm balances you can work on. Have some fun with them. But remember, you're actually pulling your navel up and in all the while. So it doesn't matter if you're doing crow or not. You're always pulling your navel up and in for your strength here. You're using your lower pelvic floor and your core because that's going to help you lift a little bit more. That might invite in some shakes. Shaking is so welcome because that means you're building up the strength in your body. So yeah, keep doing it. Keep working, keep practicing. You're amazing. Now, that was a long time if you're doing crows that whole time. I know my wrists are feeling it. So let's find ourselves in a yogi squat. So malasana at the top of our mat. So our feet are about hip width distance, our heels are at least, our toes are out. And we're sitting down into this malasana. Backs of our hands together and give our wrists a little bit of a shake. Our elbows are pressing into our knees, pressing them out a little bit. And our knees are also pressing back into the elbows to press the wrists kind of together a little bit more too. This looks really funny, but it is so nice to relieve the wrists a little bit. Beautiful, yogis. Come back to your malasana, hands into heart center. Drop your right ear over towards your right shoulder. Let any tension go from the neck. Left ear over towards left shoulder. Nice. Let's stand all the way up. Feel really powerful as you stand in your practice. Step your feet back to hip width distance at the top of your mat. Palms come back down to heart center. Close your eyes. Maybe you stack one hand on top of the other on your heart to really embrace the strength that's here and really maximize that connection. Or just palms to heart center, whichever feels better. Feel how amazingly strong you are. You have so much strength in you. Let go of those voices of whatever expectations, doubt, negativity you have on the exhales. And breathe in some pride, some strength, some power on those inhales. You can believe in your own strength, your own power, your own beauty, your own love in your heart, and not be considered selfish and not be considered full of yourself or self-absorbed. You don't have to be shallow or self-absorbed or not caring about others to be in love with yourself. In fact, we all should love ourselves because if we don't love ourselves, we can't love others around us. So it actually makes us better at loving others by loving ourselves first. And the first step to loving yourself, I think, is really acknowledging your strength that already resides in your heart. Here it is. Take a deep breath in, fill up with strength, fill up with power, fill up with love, courage. Big share out into the universe, big sigh. Beautiful, yogis. Flutter, open your eyes, swim your arms up high towards the sky at the top of your mat. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. All right, yogis, let's take an inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, step it back. Maybe you take a vinyasa from here. Maybe you skip it, your choice. Inhale, lift that right leg high. Exhale, right knee behind right wrist, half pigeon pose. Now, if this is not happening for you today, we didn't get a lot into the hips. This might be a little extreme just to jump into. Flip over onto your back and take a figure 4 stretch. It's the same thing. Your left knee is just on the opposite side of this right ankle on your back, pulling your legs in. Or if you want, you can start to fold it in your pigeon pose, or you can take a quad stretch, talking about working on that fascia. This is a great way to start working on it because this pose is very similar to the one we took earlier in Anjaneyasana, that low lunge. Your choice. Maybe you melt it down, maybe you don't. Now, if you'd like to unwind your shoulders, there's a thread the needle variation. Left arm threads through, palm faces up, left ear comes down to the earth. As that right arm keeps reaching long towards the top of the mat. Take one more full breath in. On the exhale, if you have that, thread the needle, unwind it, press your way back upright, tuck your back left toes, come back, pedal it out, let it go. All right, left leg lifts high. Exhale, left knee behind left wrist, or take that supine pigeon on your back, that figure four stretch on your back, your choice. If you want that quad stretch again, it's right here. Or you can fold it down and we'll take that thread the needle variation. Just make sure your right toes are straight back behind you. You have the balance. You're not leaning too far to the left or the right. So you can fold it straight down, or you can take that right arm, thread it through, palm faces up, right ear comes to earth. As the left arm just rests and heavy and down towards the top of your mat. Soften into the fingers, soften into the toes, the hips, the jaw. All those spaces where we hold tension, just soften it all down. All right, yogis, last breath in. Exhale, unwind that thread the needle if you still got it. Tuck your right toes, step that left foot back, pedal it out. Now from here, we've done so much stuff with our shoulders. We're gonna give our shoulders a lot of love. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna roll forward, high plank pose. Exhale, elbows hug in towards the ribs, hold. And then lower all the way down to your belly. Open your arms up to a T, right ear to earth first. Bring that left palm near your heart and then roll and stack your left side on top of your right. Now, you can keep your left palm right here. You can also keep your left leg right here, or you can step your left leg back behind you and even maybe wrap that left arm back behind you. But your right arm is still straight out of the shoulder socket. It's creating that 90 degrees right between your shoulder, your neck, and your arm. One more full inhale. Exhale, roll back to your belly. Reach that left arm long out, straight out of the shoulder socket. See how it's straight out of my shoulder socket. It's not up, it's not down, it's straight out. Bring the left ear down. Roll and stack that right side on top of left. Maybe the right foot steps back behind you. Maybe even the right hand moves back behind you to wrap around the low back for like a half bind. Keep breathing into that left shoulder. Another full big breath in. Stay for the exhale. Last inhale. Exhale, unwind back to your belly, and then press both palms in. Sit back towards your knees. Press your way up. Good. Sit over to one side. Kick your feet out in front of you. We're going to go for one last shoulder stretch, and then we're down onto our backs. So widen your feet about mat width distance or even wider. And we're going to take our hands, the backs of our hands, to the outside of our thighs. So if you see, my palm is facing out, yeah? So bring your elbows to the inside of your knees. Wow, you might be feeling a lot right here. You can just stay right there if it feels like a lot. If you're like, I don't feel a lot, maybe you walk your feet in closer and then, oh yeah, you're about to feel a lot. And that's because we just use these muscles in our shoulders so much for all those arm balances. But also, we don't tend to invite in a lot of internal rotation. We tend to invite in external rotation primarily. And so here we're going to really switch it up. This is a really interesting kind of stretch. We don't do it very often. One more inhale. Exhale, unwind, roll the shoulders out. Kick your feet to the top of your mat. Reach your hands towards your toes, nice and slow. Use that core strength to roll you down. One last little abdominal exercise. Hold it here when you're almost to the ground. Hover your feet. Take a deep breath in. Reach your arms long overhead, a nice hollow body rock for 5. Keep breathing. 4. Last 3. You've got this hollow body rock. Pull the navel down. 2. And last 1. Lower it all down. Oof. Maybe you need to recenter yourself on the mat. Hug those knees in towards your chest. Give them a big old squeeze. Maybe you take a happy baby. Maybe you skip it and you go straight to your Shavasana. I'd like a happy baby today, so that's what I'm going to go for. All right, yogis, give yourself one last big hug. Tuck yourself into a ball. Grab for opposite elbows. Take a full inhale. Close the eyes. Exhale. Open up arms and legs. Big sigh. Just lay here in your strength, in this physical vessel. Let the physical body rest heavy. Arms and legs take up space. Like your physical vessel, your body is filled with sand. It's nice and heavy. As you let your physical body just rest, start to let yourself slow the physical breath down as well. Come back to normal. And enjoy this rest, soaking up the bliss that you work so hard to cultivate on the mat. I'll let you know when it's time to reawaken, yogis. Enjoy this time to rest. When you're ready to reawaken, and if you're ready to reawaken, begin to deepen your breath, bring a little bit more awareness. If you'd like to keep resting, just lock your device, close it up, and turn on a reminder on your phone. Have your phone remind you to wake up in so many minutes, whatever it might be for you, so you don't have to keep track of time. But if you've begun to deepen the breath and you're ready to reawaken, invite in some small movements into your fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Before finding a nice good morning stretch, reach long through fingers and toes. Take a deep breath in. Invite in that extra length in the side body. Exhale, hug the knees in towards the chest, rocking either to your right or left side for fetal position. Keep your eyes closed. When you feel ready, taking your time to press your way up to a comfortable cross-legged seat. Palms come into heart center. Thumbs press into your sternum. Proud heart, closed eyes, really still focusing on the internal. Feeling that strength behind your thumbs, the beat of your heart, the rhythm of your breath. That strength is already within you, and you can stand in it. You just have to dig deep enough to find that strength when you need it. I truly appreciate each and every one of you, amazing, strong yogis, for showing up, being courageous, taking a risk. Until I get to see you again, I hope you have a great day. Namaste. Thanks, yogis. I'm Christine, or Yogi DLT is my Apple Music, so you can get on there and get the playlist for today's class. Yoga BSY 22 is my playlist for today. It's a powerful, fun one. I'm also at Yogi DLT on Insta. But please don't forget, if you have the ability to donate, that really does help out so many amazing yoga teachers, and goes directly to the Teacher Relief Fund. So it goes to help pay these amazing yoga teachers who have lost their income, all of it, or at least a huge chunk of it, during this time, and help us pay some bills and make ends meet. So we really are grateful for any and all donations. You can make them through blackswanyoga.com, or you can go to our Insta, Black Swan Yoga Austin, and go directly through the link in our bio. It's through the Austin one, though, please. That helps your Austin teachers, all of us here in the ATX. Anyways, I miss you guys terribly, and I hope you feel very strong after this practice, but also very grounded and centered. That is my ultimate goal. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, the rest of whatever lies ahead this week, and stay strong, yogis. Bye.